Here's a really fascinating video. As many of you know, CNN anchor Jake Tapper wrote a book about what he calls the cover-up of Joe Biden's decline during the presidency of Joe Biden. And there are people who love the book and people who hate the book, or people who say, well, this would have been an appropriate book in the time of Biden's presidency, but now it's sort of like picking on an old guy whose political career is over and he has metastatic prostate cancer. Well, Jake Tapper went on C-SPAN and he was confronted by a caller who said, what about Trump's decline? What about the problems Trump is having? Isn't that relevant right now? Very interesting call. Take a listen.
But right now, I really don't like you. I think you're doing a disservice to Joe and also to the American people. When are you going to examine, what is going on with Trump? Joe Biden conducted himself for 4 years taking care of the United States. He took meetings. He went overseas. He negotiated with other leaders. This president has been pure chaos, which indicates to me that there is something wrong with him. We will never get a straight answer on his medical examinations, what medication he is on. And yet you have gone after Joe Biden with a vengeance that I'm very disappointed in you. I enjoy watching your show, but not anymore.
Wow.
And I think right now you ought to start writing another book examining Trump and how erratic and what he is doing, calling out the National Guard, the Marines, and everybody. When has a president ever done that? It's pure erratic.
Okay, Sarah, they're in Virginia. Thanks. Mr. Tapper.
Thanks, Sarah. Sarah, as you know from watching my show on CNN, we cover President Trump every day for 2 hours, every day from 5 to 7 Eastern. And we cover all the things you talk about. In terms of the president, the current president's behavior, we have covered times that he has confused Nancy Pelosi with Nikki Haley. I think some of the questions about President Trump's behavior have more to do with personality than with cognitive decline. But obviously, whatever lessons we've learned from covering President Biden, we would apply to any politician, any future politician or present politician. So I'm sorry if I'm disappointing you by covering President Biden, but journalists, we are supposed to cover stories that we think the American people have a right to know.
Listen, we may be speaking with Jake Tapper soon about the book, and I plan to bring up a lot of these issues, but there is something that Sarah, the caller, gets absolutely right here, which is that for years, we saw this obsession with every pause or stutter from Joe Biden, running segments about whether his feet shuffled, if he tripped, if he coughed weirdly, if his voice sounded hoarse. And meanwhile, Trump's ranting about this, that, and the other thing. He's confusing people. He says Obama started World War II. He's rambling in all caps about golden light and Jesus-powered sky weapons. And we haven't really seen serious coverage of it. And it's dismissed the way Jake Tapper does, where he goes, listen, I think it's about Trump's personality and not really about cognitive decline. We have a situation here where we haven't even gotten a genuine medical report about Donald Trump. Every report is a propaganda document about how he's so healthy and his golf game. And so there's two sides to this. I think it's fine for Jake Tapper to write the book that he did. I think that it would have been maybe a more relevant book given the timing of when he learned some of this information for it to have been reported while Biden was president, where now, when you wait and then the book comes out when it's no longer actionable and Joe Biden's political career is over, it's sort of like, what are we doing right now? Is this just to add insult to injury for no real reason? But the double standard is infuriating. If Biden had posted half of Trump's deranged Truth Social screeds, every Sunday show, every single day would have been about that. And yet, because it's Trump being Trump, or it's just stuff he says and doesn't really mean it, or he's doing it at 2 and 6 a.m. while sitting, who knows where he's sitting in this kind of non-sleeping world fever dream that he's created for him, then I guess it's okay, or it doesn't warrant coverage. Just a linguistic analysis of Trump shows an extraordinary decline, dramatically more than Biden. We've done the linguistic analysis. Experts have done the linguistic analysis. So good for Sarah for calling this out. I don't think we're going to see what Sarah wants to see and what we want to see in terms of critical coverage of Trump, because the networks are terrified to do it. They're terrified that they'll lose access to everyone in the administration. They're terrified that Trump will go after them legally, even if only to tie them up with lawsuits that have no merit. So Sarah's completely right. We've been demanding it for a while, but I don't think we're going to get it from Jake Tapper. You know, every time we call out Donald Trump's authoritarianism, the right calls it media hysteria. But I want to remind you that Trump admits he's looking for ways to defy the Constitution and maybe even pursue another term. Now, if you don't know the bias behind your news, you might believe, oh, Trump's just teasing us. There's nothing here. Go to ground.news/Pacman and see how media bias influences more than your perception from Trump's policy and ability to understand and undermine constitutional norms. I've been with Ground News for years now because this is what they do. They expose the hidden agendas behind reporting sources and make it easy to compare coverage and understand critical issues. Even better, if I'm reading a story on another site, the Ground News browser extension will flag the source's political bias and give me other reports on the same story so I can verify the information. My viewers get 40% off the same unlimited Vantage plan that I use, so you get their top tier plan for just $5 a month. Go to ground.news/Pacman. The link is in the description, or scan the QR code.